You've added every indicator. You've watched every webinar. You've followed every guru and you're still losing. What if the problem wasn't your system? What if the real reason if you fail is because you've never truly learned to see? One candle, one moment of clarity, one breath before the click. This is not another strategy video. This is a mirror. This is the one candle strategy, and it might be the last method you'll ever need. You stare at the screen, a dozen charts blinking, indicators overlapping like tangled wires, red and green lights flashing like some chaotic traffic jam in Tokyo at rush hour. You squint, trying to make sense of the RSI, the MACD, the Bollinger Bands, the Fibonacci levels, the VWAP, the newsfeed ticker. Everything is screaming something different. Everything is urgent. Everything is noisy. And yet, deep inside, you feel numb, not clear, not confident, just overwhelmed. Sound familiar? Let me tell you something that took me years of pain, thousands of dollars in losses, and a few emotional breakdowns to learn. Complexity doesn't make you smarter. It makes you slower. It makes you blind. When I first started trading, I thought sophistication was the secret. I believed that if I could just stack the right indicators, watch the right news at the right second, and set up the perfect algo, I'd win. I'd finally be ahead of the market. I mean, that's what the pros do, right? Wrong. What I didn't realize is that the more data you chase, the more your mind fractures. Every new tool you add is another voice in your head. One tells you to buy, one says wait, one says sell, one says run. You become like a driver with 5 GPS systems shouting at once, and none of them agree. So you hesitate, you overthink, you freeze, you chase, you lose. Not because you didn't know enough, but because you knew too much. Here's the brutal truth. Your brain wasn't designed for this. Science tells us the conscious mind can only hold about 5 to 9 chunks of information at once. That's it. And yet every day, traders load their screens with 20 indicators, 15 alerts, 5 chat rooms, 3 economic calendars, and then wonder why they feel anxious, indecisive, and burnt out. It's not your fault. You were trained to believe that more tools equal more control. But in trading, more tools often equal more delay, more contradiction, more doubt. And in scalping especially, where seconds matter, doubt is death. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine you're surfing. The wave is rising, fast. You feel it behind you. It's now or never. But instead of paddling, you pause. You pull out a calculator. You analyze tide data. You measure wind speed. You phone a friend. By the time you decide, the wave is gone. That's what overanalysis does to traders. The market is not an equation. It's not a puzzle you solve. It's a living, breathing storm of human emotion. And emotion doesn't wait for confirmation. It moves, it reacts, it flows. And unless you're flowing with it, you're not trading. You're just reacting with a lag. Now, here's the part no one tells you. Most traders aren't actually afraid of losing. They're afraid of being wrong. And so they build layers and layers of protection, indicators, confirmations, models, checklists, trying to create certainty in a world that doesn't offer it. They chase a perfect system that doesn't exist. They hide behind complexity because they're terrified to trust their instincts. But here's the paradox. The more you chase certainty, the less clearly you see. The more you add, the more you hide. Because every extra tool creates distance between you and the price. Every new layer muffles your sensitivity. You stop seeing what's really happening. You stop feeling it. You lose your edge. Let me give you a real example. There was a trader on our floor, brilliant guy, quant background, built a system with RSI, MACD, Bollinger Bands, order flow, heat maps, 5 time frame alignment, Fibonacci zones, and sentiment analysis. It looked like NASA mission control. 6 months of work. His win rate dropped from 55% to 23%. Why? Because he wasn't trading the chart anymore. He was trading his tools. He had built a fortress so thick he couldn't see the battlefield. The saddest part? He had good instincts, but he buried them under noise. And that's the point. Clarity isn't built, it's revealed by subtracting. Great traders aren't the ones who know the most, they're the ones who know what to ignore. One of the best scalpers I've ever met trades with a blank chart. No indicators, no newsfeed, just price, volume, time. 1-minute candles, one level, one read. And he makes more in a week than most analysts make in a year. Why? Because he sees clearly. He feels flow. He trusts the price. Not because he's naive, but because he's refined. He's burned away the clutter. He's returned to center. Here's the shift I want to invite you into. Stop asking, what else should I add? Start asking, what can I remove? What if clarity was never missing, only hidden? What if the signal was there all along, but drowned in noise? It's time to stop collecting tools and start cultivating perception. It's time to move from complexity to simplicity, from delay to instinct, from confusion to clarity. And that clarity, it starts with one candle. Imagine this, you're looking at a chart, not 6 monitors, not 15 overlays, just one screen, one time frame, one candle, and suddenly it speaks, not in words, but in structure, in shape, in volume, in location. A small green body forms near a key level. A long lower wick stretches beneath it. The candle closes strong, volume surges, you don't flinch, you don't wait for permission, you click with presence, and within minutes the move begins. This isn't luck, this isn't magic. This is the one candle strategy, and it's probably the last trading framework you'll ever need if you're brave enough to unlearn everything that's been clouding your judgment. So, what is the one candle strategy? It's not a trading setup, it's not a signal service, it's not a system of rigid rules. It's a lens, a way of seeing, a way of feeling the market through the story of a single candle. You see, every candle tells a story. Every wick, every body, every close is a snapshot of a battlefield, a war between buyers and sellers. And when you learn to read that story clearly in context, you no longer need confirmation. You no longer need to guess. You just know. Let's break it down. The candle. At its core, the strategy begins with one well-formed candle. This candle must have a strong body, a meaningful wick or lack of one, and it must close near structure, support, resistance, or volume-weighted average price. The candle isn't a signal, it's a sentence, a declaration. It's price saying, this is what I'm doing. Join me if you have the clarity to see. The context. Context is everything. A hammer candle at the top of a rally? That's not bullish. That's a trap. But that same hammer at the base of a 3-day sell-off with volume spiking, that's power. That's rejection. That's potential reversal. One candle strategy teaches you to see not just shape, but meaning, based on location, structure, time of day, and market rhythm. You begin asking smarter questions. Where is this candle forming? What came before it? What's the volume saying about conviction? Is this candle a whisper or a scream? The volume is breath. It's emotion made visible. A strong bullish candle without volume, empty move, likely to fade. A small candle with high volume, that's tension, pressure, a potential breakout brewing. In the one candle strategy, volume validates the story. Without it, the candle has no voice. With it, the message becomes undeniable. The entry. Entry is simple. You enter at the close of the candle or on a small pullback if the candle meets your standards. Clear intent, proper context, valid volume. No need to wait for 3 signals or a confluence checklist the size of a textbook. If the market has spoken clearly, you act. This is where one candle separates the amateurs from the pros. Most traders hesitate, they second guess, they seek approval. You observe, you feel, you click. The stop your stop loss is precise. It's placed just beyond the wick of the candle. Why? Because if the story the candle told is true, price should not return there. If it does, the story was wrong or unfinished. Either way, you're out, clean, simple, non-emotional. One candle doesn't eliminate losses, it controls them. You trade like a samurai, decisively with honor and without attachment. The philosophy. This strategy isn't just a method, it's a mindset. It forces you to be still, to observe, to stop forcing trades, to wait for clarity, and only then to act. When you strip away all the noise, you stop reacting to indicators and start listening to the market itself. You realize you don't need to predict 10 candles ahead. You just need to understand the one in front of you. And that's enough. Because in that one candle, the market reveals who's in control, where the battle is being fought, how committed each side is, and what's likely to happen next. The shift. When you begin trading this way, something shifts inside you. You stop hunting setups. You start sensing them. You don't rush into trades. You breathe into them. And every click becomes sacred, not because you're guaranteed to win, but because you're no longer gambling. You're no longer guessing. You're aligning. This is trading as presence. This is mindfulness in motion. This is the edge no indicator can give you. You'll hear the skeptics say, you can't trade off just one candle. To them I say, you already are. You just don't realize it. Because every trade at its root comes down to one candle that triggered you, whether consciously or not. The question is, are you reading it clearly or blindly? So the next time you pull up a chart, don't look for patterns, don't hunt for signals. Just sit, watch, wait for the candle that whispers truth, and when it forms, don't hesitate. Don't ask 5 indicators for permission, just click with presence, with clarity, with one candle. It starts small, a harmless loss, maybe 2. You tell yourself it's just a pullback, a bad day. The market was choppy, the news was unexpected. You try again, but this time you double the size. You need to get it back. The trade goes red again, panic hits, the plan, gone. The stop loss, removed. The logic, buried under a landslide of emotion. And within minutes, you've lost more in one morning than you gained in the past 3 weeks. But here's the truth no one tells you. You didn't lose because of the market. You lost because your mindset broke before your method ever had a chance to work. Let me be honest with you. This chapter is the one most traders skip because this is the part where we stop blaming the market and start looking inward. The market is not your enemy. It's not out to get you. It's not designed to hurt you. It simply reflects whatever emotion you bring into it. Fear, ego, revenge, overconfidence, doubt, desperation, all of it amplified. Every candle becomes a mirror, every wick a reflection of your state, every trade a test of your inner balance. And if you don't master yourself, the market will break you over and over and over again. Let me tell you a story. There was a scalper, technically gifted, chart clean, entry sharp, risk defined. He was disciplined on paper. One Monday morning, he took 3 small losses. Total damage, $400. That's nothing. Easily manageable, but he snapped. He couldn't let the market win, so he doubled his position. Lost again, tripled it, lost again. By noon, he was down over $3,000. Still, he didn't stop. He went all in. $25,000 account, maximum leverage, one trade. This is the one, he whispered to himself. Perfect setup. The market moved instantly against him. 7 minutes later, his account was at $3,000, 88% gone. When asked what happened, he said, I just couldn't let the market beat me. But the market wasn't his opponent. His ego was. This is the real reason most traders lose. Not strategy, not knowledge, not skill, but emotional implosion, the need to be right, the refusal to accept loss, the desperate chase to recover, the belief that one perfect trade will fix everything. It starts with a scratch. It ends with a scar. The one candle strategy isn't just about clarity. It's about control over self. Because even the cleanest candle, even the sharpest signal, means nothing if the trader behind the screen is falling apart inside. And I know this because I've been there. I've felt the tremble in my hands after a loss, the tight in the chest after a bad entry, the overwhelming urge to click something just to feel in control again. But control doesn't come from more trades. It comes from more awareness. Let me share something that changed everything for me. Losing is not failure. Reacting poorly to loss is. Sit with that. You can take 5 stop losses in a row and still be a successful trader if your mindset remains stable. But one emotional reaction, one moment of ego, one revenge trade, that's the collapse. That's how careers end. So how do you avoid this spiral? You build rituals. After every trade, win or loss, you journal 3 things. What happened objectively? What did I feel emotionally? What did I learn practically? Do this for 1 week. Watch how your awareness transforms. Suddenly, you're no longer just tracking trades, you're tracking yourself. And that's the most powerful edge in trading, self-awareness under pressure. Think back. Have you ever taken a trade just to make it back? Have you ever clicked in frustration or fear? Be honest, most traders don't blow up because of bad setups. They blow up because they can't sit with discomfort. The discomfort of being wrong, the discomfort of missing out, the discomfort of not trading. But here's a truth that may feel hard at first and liberating later. You don't need to trade. You need to wait until the market invites you. That's what the one candle teaches you. Presence over panic, observation over impulse, patience over performance. You know what separates the elite? Not that they never lose, but that they don't personalize loss. They see every red trade as tuition, a fee for information. They don't chase, they don't fight the tape, they don't get even. They stay centered, neutral, grounded, and because of that, they survive long enough to thrive. So here's your next practice. Before every session, repeat this out loud. I don't need to be right. I only need to read clearly. I honor my stops. I protect my focus. I trade with presence. Breathe. Feel those words. Then wait. Wait for the one candle that speaks. Wait for the clarity, not the compulsion. Because when you're calm, you'll see what others miss. And when you're grounded, you'll act when others panic. This journey is not about perfect trades, it's about consistent self command. And that begins with the moment you stop blaming the market and start mastering your mind. You're not fighting price, you're training presence. And that presence, it will save your account more than any setup ever will. Most traders come looking for a strategy. Few realize what they truly need is stillness. Stillness isn't sexy. It doesn't flash green and red. It doesn't scream for attention. It doesn't sell in thumbnails or headline ads. But make no mistake, stillness is the real edge. And the traders who discover that edge, they move differently. They think differently. They click differently. Let me explain. In the world of scalping, speed is king, or so we're told. Hesitate, and the setup's gone. Pause, and you miss the move. Blink, and price leaves you behind. That's what everyone says. But what if I told you that the fastest traders aren't the ones who rush? They're the ones who are still inside. Because in trading, your speed doesn't come from your fingers. It comes from your clarity, your emotional stillness, your ability to see clearly without panic while the market storms all around you. There was a trader I once knew. Quiet, unassuming, never posted flashy profits, never bragged in chat rooms, but his returns, consistent, precise, clean, day in, day out. When I asked him his secret, he smiled and said, I have a ritual. 10 minutes of silence before the bell. I thought he was joking, but he wasn't. Every morning before the session opened, he sat still. No charts, no phone, just breath. 10 minutes, eyes closed, back straight. Then he would light a single stick of incense, not for mysticism, but for boundary, for intention. When I light this, he said, I remind myself, this is sacred time. This isn't gambling. This is my dojo. The market is the test, and my mouse is the blade. That hit me like a whisper I'd been waiting years to hear. You see, most traders approach the market like it's a casino. They rush in, scalp emotionally, hope for luck, react to every tick. But the great ones, they approach it like it's a temple. Every trade becomes sacred, every click deliberate, every entry a reflection of their inner stillness, not their outer urgency. This is where trading transforms, from chaos into clarity, from addiction into awareness, from impulse into ritual. You might be thinking, but I don't have time for all that. Markets move too fast. Exactly. That's why you must slow yourself down before the market speeds you up. Because when you rush into a trade, you're already at a disadvantage. A rushing mind is a losing mind. It's not grounded, not precise. It's reactive, sloppy, desperate. But a still mind, it sees what others don't. It senses weakness in a wick. It notices hesitation in volume. It hears the market whisper. And in those whispers, that's where the edge lives. So here's a challenge. Tomorrow morning before your session, take 30 seconds. No charts, no apps, just you and your breath. Inhale for 4, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold for 4. Box breathing. Simple. Centering. Do that for just 1 minute. And feel the difference. You'll notice it. The tension softens, the noise inside fades, and suddenly you're here. Not chasing, not predicting, just present. That's the state you need before every trade. Not hyped, not fearful, present. Let me be clear. Stillness doesn't mean hesitation. It means readiness. Stillness is the space between thought and action, between emotion and execution, between stimulus and response. And in that space, that's where your trading IQ multiplies. You want to build a real edge? Here are 3 micro rituals to start with. Pre-market breathing. 2 minutes of silent breath before charts. Intention setting. Write down your one goal before the session. 1 sentence. Observation phase. First 15 minutes, no trades, just watch. Feel the rhythm. You'll notice that most of your worst trades happen before your body is ready, before your mind has settled, before your clarity has returned. And when you build rituals that slow you down first, you make fewer but better decisions. In trading, fewer but better is the real flex. Stillness is not weakness, it's power, under control. Think of a sniper, still, focused, breathing steady, finger ready, waiting for one clean shot. That's the trader you want to become. Because when your nervous system is quiet, your intuition can speak. When your breath is slow, your reaction is fast. When your heart is steady, your mind becomes sharp. Here's a question for you. Have you ever taken a trade not because the setup was clean, but because your mind felt restless? You just wanted to be in the game. You felt behind, you felt FOMO, you clicked, and then regret. That's not strategy, that's noise. And the one candle mindset, it silences the noise because when you wait, when you breathe, when you honor stillness before the click, you start to notice something powerful. The market begins to come to you. You stop chasing, you stop reacting, you start aligning. And that changes everything. From this day forward, let stillness become your pre-trade ritual. Your edge isn't your setup, it's your state. And when your state is calm, your trades reflect clarity. And that clarity, it pays. Danyan. Dưới đây là nội dung bạn gửi, được giữ nguyên 100%, không thêm lời dẫn, không thay đổi ngữ pháp, ngữ nghĩa hay cấu trúc câu. You've cleared the noise. You've felt the chaos inside settle. Now the question becomes, what do I actually do? That's where the one candle system comes in. But before we dive in, let's get something straight. This is not a strategy. It's a structure, a frame, a method of perception. It doesn't give you trade alerts. It gives you a lens to read the market clearly, calmly, and correctly in real time. Most systems are built like machines. They say when A crosses B and lines up with C, you must do D. But the market isn't a machine. It's not linear. It's alive. So the one candle system doesn't force you to act like a robot. It trains you to act like a reader, a listener, a sniper who waits for perfect alignment, then clicks once, cleanly. The setup. Wait for the whisper. Here's what you're looking for. One single candle that meets 3 criteria. Location. It forms at a meaningful level. Support, resistance, VWAP, supply, or demand zone. Intent. The candle has a clear story. Shape, wick, and close show momentum or rejection. Volume. The market means it. The volume confirms intent. That's it. No dashboard, no algorithm, no 8-step checklist. Just one candle that speaks clearly across 3 dimensions. Let's say you're watching BDTC USD on the one. It's bleeding slowly into a support zone. Volume is dropping. Sellers are losing energy. Suddenly a flush. Flush. Price dips beneath the zone, then snaps back. A long wick forms beneath the candle. The body closes strong and green right above support. Volume surges. That's the candle. That's your signal. Now pause. No indicator needed. No prediction. Just observation. Here's what that one candle is telling you. Sellers tried to break this level. Buyers stepped in with size. Weak hands got flushed. Strong hands are back in control. This is why context matters. That same candle in the middle of a trendless chop? Ignore it. But that candle at a key level with a volume spike? That's not noise. That's a narrative. Entry and execution. Keep it simple. Once the candle meets your 3 criteria, location, intent, volume, you're ready. Enter on the close of the candle or a slight pullback, depending on volatility and your risk profile. Stop loss, easy, just beyond the wick. If the story was true, price should not return there. Target, a clean multiple of risk, 2R, 3R, or structure-based levels. Let's walk it out. You risk $100. Your entry is at $28,000. Your stop loss is 20 points below the wick. Target is 60 points above entry, 3R. Price hits it in 7 minutes. You're out. Done. No stress. No scaling. No fiddling. One read, one click, one result. And if the trade fails, so what? It was planned, it was clean, it was correct. You trusted the read, honored the risk, accepted the outcome. This is how professionals think, because success is not the absence of losses, it's the consistency of process. The system scales. Want to trade on the 5-minute chart? Same rules. 15-minute chart? Same structure. The candle changes size, but the storytelling doesn't. One candle. One meaningful location. One confirmation of intent. One volume signal. That's all. The only thing that changes? Your patience. Here's a trap to avoid. Don't turn this system into a rigid formula. It's not about memorizing hammer equals buy, doji equals sell. It's about listening. Every candle says something. The question is, do you understand its language? One trader might enter on the candle close, another on a slight retrace. Both are valid if the read is right. The candle isn't a command. It's a conversation starter. Let's recap. The one candle system gives you a defined method, a clear risk structure, a psychologically sustainable edge, a way to reduce overtrading, a map to consistency through clarity. It doesn't require speed, it requires presence. It doesn't need predictions, it responds to truth. It doesn't chase the market, it waits for the market to speak clearly, honestly, and loudly through one candle. And when it does, you act. So take a moment. Think back to your last 5 trades. Did you enter because of pressure or because of presence? Did you wait for clarity or click out of hope? Did the candle you trusted truly deserve that trust? Because here's the truth, you don't need more trades, you need cleaner trades. One candle at the right level with clear intent and real volume behind it. That's the whole game. And now you have it. Đã nhận. Dưới đây là nội dung bạn gửi, được giữ nguyên 100%, không thêm lời dẫn, không thay đổi ngữ pháp, ngữ nghĩa hay cấu trúc câu. You want to become a master. You want to read the market with clarity, confidence, calm, precision. You want to sense opportunity, not just scan for it. You want your execution to be automatic, clean, without hesitation. Then stop chasing more knowledge and start training what you already know. Because mastery doesn't come from studying, it comes from repetition. Welcome to the dojo. This is where you become dangerous. Most traders skip this part. They want the result without the ritual. They want confidence without conditioning. They want feel without feedback. But trading is a skill, like martial arts, and skills are built in silence, through structure, through sweat. You don't become a samurai by reading about swords. You become one by swinging the blade 10,000 times with intention. So here's the truth. Backtesting is not about data. It's about discipline. It's not about charts. It's about your character. This is where you sharpen the eye, where your nervous system learns the rhythm, where intuition gets built, not from theory, but from touch. The samurai routine. Set aside 30 minutes a day. That's all you need. Choose a market, choose a time frame, pick a day. Open TradingView, turn on bar replay, and now, start. One candle at a time, no skipping, no jumping ahead. Watch it unfold, observe. Wait for your one candle setup, right level, right shape, right volume. When it appears, pause. Ask yourself, would I enter here? Where's my stop? What's my target? Feel the hesitation, feel the doubt, feel the pull. This isn't about just finding trades. This is about finding your reactions. Where do you get excited too early? Where do you hesitate too long? Where does your fear override your process? Every click, whether imagined or real, shows you yourself. The Trader's Logbook. As you train, keep a journal. Not for ego, for evolution. After every simulated trade, write, what happened? Objectively. What did I feel? Emotionally. What did I learn? Practically. Pattern recognition is a byproduct of this practice. But self-recognition, that's the real treasure. Because when you notice your mental patterns, impatience, aggression, fear, doubt, you reclaim control, and control equals edge. Here's the advanced version. Pick one setup, one type of candle. Replay 50 instances of that setup across different days. Track how it behaves based on time of day, market phase, volume dynamics, outcome. This isn't statistics, it's immersion. You're not just studying the market, you're feeling it, you're developing muscle memory, and one day, live in the market, that same setup will appear. And without thinking, your hand will move, your breath will stay calm, and your execution will be pure. That's what the dojo builds. The 30-day discipline. Here's your challenge. For the next 30 days, commit to 20 to 30 candles per day, one market, one time frame, one entry style, one log per day. No distractions, no multitasking, no just checking something. This is your tatami mat. This is your sword practice. This is where you go from knowing to becoming. And if you really want to go deep, do it in silence. No music, no podcasts, just you, the chart, and your attention. Because in that silence, something profound happens. The market starts teaching you directly. You begin to notice how volume breathes before breakouts, how wicks appear at moments of exhaustion, how price respects certain levels and fakes others. You stop needing to predict, you start responding. You stop asking, is this the one? And you start knowing, this is the one. That shift from guessing to grounded seeing is what separates a struggling trader from a serious one. Don't underestimate the power of simulated reps. When you've seen a setup play out 50 times in 5 different conditions, live execution becomes second nature. You don't need confidence, you have conviction because you've trained for it. You don't need speed, you have timing because you've seen this move before. You don't need luck. You have presence because you've removed doubt. This is what separates I hope from I know, and I know is where the edge begins. Bonus insight, emotions don't vanish, you outgrow them. You'll still feel things while backtesting. That's the point. You'll feel boredom, frustration, overconfidence, restlessness. But instead of reacting, you'll learn to observe. And once you can observe emotion without obeying it, you become untouchable. The dojo doesn't just train your hand, it trains your nervous system. So when you're live and the pressure spikes and everything's moving fast, your body will remember. Your breath will stay slow. And you'll do the one thing most traders never learn. You'll wait until the candle speaks. Then you'll strike. There's a reason elite performers in every field repeat the same drills every day. The pianist practices scales, the swordsman repeats his cut, the trader replays candles, not for perfection, for presence. Because the more familiar the motion, the freer the mind becomes. And in that freedom, intuition blossoms. So now you have the system, you have the setup. Now it's time to train because the market doesn't pay you for what you know. It pays you for what you can execute without hesitation, under pressure, in the moment. And that level of presence only comes from the dojo. Đã nhận, dưới đây là nội dung bạn gửi được giữ nguyên 100%, không thêm lời dẫn, không thay đổi ngữ pháp, ngữ nghĩa hay cấu trúc câu. You sit alone, staring at the chart, watching price move. Win or lose, it's just you and the screen. That's how trading feels most days. Solitary, isolated, silent. And while solitude is part of the path, isolation is not. Let me say that again. Solitude sharpens you. Isolation breaks you. And the difference, it's who you share the journey with. Every trader walks into the market thinking it's just them, their mind, their rules, their edge. But over time, the silence starts to wear on you. There's no one to ask, did I see that wick correctly? Was that volume truly conviction or just noise? Am I being disciplined or delusional? There's no one to reflect your blind spots, no one to celebrate the process, no one to ground you when the storm hits. And without reflection, you start to echo your own errors. That's where community comes in, not to give you signals, not to tell you what to trade, but to hold up a mirror so you can see yourself more clearly. The most powerful growth doesn't happen in private, it happens in circles. When someone else sees your chart and says gently, that wasn't a clean zone, volume was drying up, you learn. When a trader shares a loss and 5 others say, same mistake, here's how we adjusted, you evolve. You realize you're not alone, and that changes everything. Let me share a story. Inside a quiet trading group I helped build, there was a challenge we ran, the 1 candle 30-day challenge. 1 high conviction trade per day. Strict journaling, no indicators, full transparency. One trader joined. He wasn't flashy, didn't post big wins, but every single day he posted his chart, his entry, his stop, his emotion, his lesson. He showed up even on red days, especially on red days. Day 11, he overtraded. Day 12, he journaled his regret. Day 13, he fixed his entry rules. Day 14, his confidence returned. By day 30, his account grew just 6%. But his awareness exploded. He wrote, "It's not about P&L anymore. I finally trust my decisions. I finally know how to stay still." And that trust didn't come from YouTube videos. It came from being witnessed by others on the same path, walking the same edge, bleeding the same doubt. That's what a real trading community does. Here's what it's not: a group where people flex profits, a channel where everyone chases the next coin, a toxic chat full of noise and ego. That's not a dojo, that's a casino. The trading circle you want is quieter, humbler, rooted in reflection, not reaction. A place where charts are shared without judgment, losses are discussed with honesty, process is more valuable than results. So what does that look like in practice? It looks like this: a space where you can say, I took a clean 1 candle setup, it failed, here's the chart. And someone replies, your entry was solid, structure just shifted, no fault. A shared log where everyone journals, what I saw, what I felt, what I learned. No ego, just data, just depth. Group challenges, 1 trade a day, 1 setup, 1 log, 30 days of shared evolution. Weekly calls to review the week, not to brag, but to dissect, to refine, to grow. You don't need 100 traders, you need 3 to 5 aligned traders, people who take the craft as seriously as you do. Because the truth is, you can't see your own blind spots, but others can. And if they care enough to reflect them back with honesty, with care, you accelerate. That's how progress compounds, not just through effort, through accountability, not just through solitude, through shared awareness. Here's your invitation. Build your circle or find one. You don't need gurus, you need mirrors. People who will call you out when you break your rules, celebrate your process, not just your profit, keep you steady when your mind wants to spiral. Because in trading, mindset breaks quietly. You need someone to notice when you're off balance before your account pays the price. So run the challenge right now. Start the one candle challenge with one friend. 30 days, one trade per session, one chart, one journal entry. Rules are simple. The impact is life-changing. And if you're really ready, share your charts publicly. Start a Discord, start a private Telegram, start a circle of still traders. Let your vulnerability lead, not because you need advice, but because you need reflection, and others do too. You're not here just to win alone. You're here to evolve together. Because while the market may always rage, clarity belongs to the quiet, and growth belongs to the circle. You've made it here. 8 chapters, 8 mirrors, 8 quiet confrontations between you and your truth. Let's take a moment. Breathe. Let the noise of everything else fall away. Because what you're about to do, this shift you're standing on the edge of, is not small. It's not just a strategy change. It's not just a better setup. It's a return to simplicity, to focus, to presence. You came here searching for answers. Maybe you were tired of inconsistency. Maybe the charts were starting to feel like chaos. Maybe your tools betrayed you, or your mind betrayed itself. Whatever the reason, you stayed. You listened. You reflected. You saw a different way. And now you stand at a decision point. Will you go back to chasing noise, or will you stay with the candle? You've learned something rare. That clarity doesn't come from complexity. It comes from removal. That a single candle, read well, tells a clearer story than 10 indicators. That volume is breath. Structure is rhythm. Context is truth. That risk isn't punishment, it's permission. That discipline doesn't follow strategy, it precedes it. That mindset breaks before systems do. That stillness isn't a soft skill, it's the source of skill. And that mastery isn't about perfection, it's about presence, repeated with devotion. So here's what I ask you to do next. Not tomorrow, not someday. Today. Begin the one candle challenge. 30 days. One chart, one time frame, one clean candle-based setup per session. Strict stop loss, clear target, full journaling. No chasing, no forcing, no relying on indicators. Just showing up, observing, breathing, acting only when the market speaks. You'll be amazed how quickly your intuition sharpens when it's consistently witnessed, especially in community. And you'll be surprised how much peace you gain when you stop needing to know and start trusting what's now. Maybe you've never had a stretch of trading that felt like flow, where each trade was clean, where hesitation disappeared, where the market stopped feeling like a storm and started feeling like a dance. You can have that. It's not a myth. It's not for the elite. It's not locked behind $5,000 courses. It's built. One candle at a time, one pause before the click, one deep breath before the decision. So if this spoke to you, if something in your chest shifted as you listened, if this felt like permission to simplify, then comment below. I'm ready. Let the world see you declare it. Let others walk this path with you. Let your presence ripple into someone else's growth. And if you're already in a circle, start a challenge together. Support each other through the 30 days, not to prove anything, but to experience everything trading can be when it's done with presence. There's no end to this journey, only deepening. You'll come back to the same candle again and again and read it differently each time. Why? Because you've changed. Because you're quieter. Because now you're ready to listen. The chart never stops speaking. You just learn to hear. So don't wait. This is your path now. You don't need more tools. You don't need more speed. You don't need more certainty. That you need one candle, one level, one clear moment, one breath before the click. That's where mastery begins. Let's walk it together. Comment I'm ready, and let the silence sharpen your edge. I'll see you in the dojo.